Hello and welcome to my channel. Vice Rhino here. Hello. Who the fuck is that guy over there? Channel.
I have
Vice
no
Rhino
idea.
here?
Also, apparently I can
Who the fuck is that guy over there?
I have no idea.
Yep. I apparently left your stream open.
Oop.
So there we go. That's that.
Hey, everybody on my stream can hear you just fine.
Yeah. So who the fuck is that guy?
I am trying some new things, and by new things I mean things I did 3 years ago.
Yeah.
The long story short is, so I've been trying to figure out ways I can improve my channel because numbers have not been what they had been before, and I started eliminating basically every factor that I could think of that was an issue. So like videos not being done on time because of an editor issue, or any number of like outside factors. And then once I eliminated all those factors, the numbers were still not what I'm used to seeing. I went, okay, now that I've eliminated everything else, now I need to figure out what changes need to be made here. So now it's time to do the series of experiments, as it were.
Yep. Yeah, that's always fun. So Sirs had a great idea to have me as the Rhino avatar and him as the human for this stream, and that would have been fun. But I kind of gaslit his chat a little bit, like, oh no, I don't have that program anymore, but I do. But it was giving me issues with the camera, so the avatar was just sitting there lifelessly. And
I can tell you what the problem was, actually. Now that I thought about it.
What's that?
So the issue is that your camera was already in use. Unless if your camera's already in use by OBS, VC Face can't see it.
Yeah, that would do it then.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's... yeah, but it's too late for that now. The magic is gone.
It is what it is.
But I do have... Oh, shit. What the fuck is going on with my levels? Okay. Hi, testing. Why am I clipping? Or almost clipping? Okay.
That's weird.
How about you? Are you good?
You sound fine to me.
Yeah.
But
okay.
That's not the same as what everybody else is hearing.
I'm wondering, oh, yeah, no, you know what? I know what I did. I know what I did. I restarted my computer, which means that I also restarted the GoXLR software, which, hello. And I found that the GoXLR has a built-in amp inside of it that makes the audio sound really, really crunchy. So I had... lowered the gain on the GoXLR and cranked up the input level. And, that didn't get saved because it doesn't save it automatically.
Oh, you sound really, really low now.
Sound really low. Okay.
Like,
how about now? Is this better?
Yeah, you're right where you should be. You're peaked right into the red.
Right into the red. Okay.
Yeah, which is like the 1 decibel into the red, which is perfectly reasonable.
Come here. Sorry, I've got a beer delivery. No. Good. I need you to put 3 cans in there and then fill it with ice. And empty the water from my last stream. No, take the thing and go. Go. Okay, there we go. Having a child deliver beer to me. Yeah, okay, so there we go. Now, now that that's out of the way, technical issues. I feel like you've been dealing with that today, based on what you were saying to me.
Just a little bit.
Okay. So this is very important to me that we discuss this, but do you remember the car story that we discussed last time?
Yes, actually. I do.
So that has its whole Wikipedia page now. Firstly, I was absolutely right decoding Fox News, their latest episode that covered it, and Fox News just like, holy shit, they were so much worse than we were saying last week. Like, they spent hours calling it a terrorist attack, and then the correction was like, just like a quick 30-second, like, yeah, I guess it was just an accident. But more important than that, do you know what kind of car it was?
No, I don't.
So it was a Bentley. Specifically, the Bentley Flying Spur. Like... I
shouldn't find that as funny as I do.
I find it amazing. It's amazing. I can't, like, it's one of those things where, like, yeah, I feel bad for the couple that like we still don't know what happened. Like it might have been a medical emergency. It might have been that he was drunk. There wasn't enough of a body left to like run toxicology or anything. But we don't know. We have no idea why he was going so fast. So it's tragic. But it's a Bentley flying Spur that literally went flying 8 feet into the air.
Yeah, it's tragic, but funny. And you feel bad laughing about it, but it is what it is.
Yeah, you know what? If I die in a way that is funny, I give everybody full permission to make as much fun of that as they want. Like, have at it. I don't want people feeling bad if I die in a funny way, if they make jokes about it.
You know, so if anybody who is a diehard, like, fundamentalist Christian tries to get angry at you now, you just go, nope, that's the golden rule. I did unto others as I would have them do unto me.
There we go.
Exactly.
Okay, so back to normal. This is November, so it's fundraiser. We're getting to the end of November, and we still got like $4,400 to go. And yeah, I'm not terribly hopeful we're going to get to 10,000. Is this going to be the first year that you guys are going to let me down? It's every other year we've blown past our goal.
Just let Rhino manipulate your empathy centers.
Oh, I got Jimmy coming on Thursday. He's really good at this, so I'm hoping he can squeeze some cash out of some people.
That makes it sound awful.
And it kind of is awful, but at the same time,
but it's awful for charity.
He has no shame, so I get him on to do the things that I'm too I'm
principled
to do. Yeah, sure. We'll go with that.
God, that made it sound even worse. I'm bad at this. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. So Naramda puts,
and no one makes a joke.
So I know
mad.
Naramda puts noticed before the stream that it was at $5,666.66, and he was like, "Oh, I guess I'm gonna have to wait to donate until you guys are live so you can say funny number." So, yeah, but you know what would have solved that, Naramda puts, is if you donated $1,000. That, or donate enough to get it to 420 of the next one. That could have been fun as well.
Jeez.
You
have Jimmy on theirs day. Just any day that ends in day or Y.
Yeah.
Any day that ends in day. Jesus Christ. I have no brain cells.
I'm gonna leave that alone.
You're gonna leave that alone?
I'm gonna be the bigger person here.
No, go ahead.
Senshini says, I'm calling it. Rhino will die in a farm accident, sticking a turnip in a harvesting machine with a turnip stuck in his ass. Okay, as I was reading that, like, sticking turnip in harvest machine, I'm like, that's not where I'd be sticking the turnip. And then I got to the end and was like, okay, yeah, they got it.
They got it in one. And so did you.
No, I got it where number 2 normally goes. So.
Oh, well, fair.
Okay, so now that that's out of the way, let's get to the articles. So, this is the title thing. Diplomas for sale, $465. Again, I fucking hate how they do their headlines to line up with the ads instead of the article.
Because you can't really read it very easy.
Yeah, so diplomas for sale, $465, no classes required, inside one of Louisiana's unapproved schools. This is a long article. We're not going to do the whole thing, but... So this is about
Jesus. It's $465. This isn't where Kent Hovind got his.
No. His was Patriot Bible thing. I looked into that. They charged like $3,000.
Oh, okay.
And I considered getting myself a PhD from them.
Because what would you have to do to get it? Just spend the money. That's about it.
So this is kind of like a piece that follows one person as a story. This Arlia Martin person. Who accepted her high school diploma with with relief and gratitude. It was her ticket to better paying work she felt after getting kicked out of high school and toiling for 8 years at factory jobs to support her children. So this is primarily a homeschool thing, but this kind of, like, it's not just a homeschool thing. They're also preying on the vulnerable. This is somebody who feels like she's at a dead end in life and is trapped.
They think this is their way to get out.
And this, yeah. So the way that they like they see this as the only way that they can get out of that life. But then it turns out that these diplomas aren't really worth anything. Oh, we did get a donation. We're at 56.73, so thank you, whoever
Excellent.
did that. Sorry, I don't have it open to
That so that would also be a reason why they're so like low costed compared to anything else that's available, the thousands of dollars for other diploma mills, because they are specifically trying to get what is the high end of what we can get off of a low and desperate market.
Well, there's a bit more to it than that.
Okay.
But yeah. Anyway, so Martin didn't just take she didn't take any classes or pass any tests to get her degree. She just forked over $465 and they gave it to her with the ceremony. That's it.
That's how you earned it. You just spent the money and then it was there.
Well, she has
Okay.
she has justification for this later on in the article, but
Okay.
so Louisiana is a weird state. They actually do kind of regulate homeschooling, which surprised me because like that's something you would expect to see in the blue states, not the red states.
Mhm.
And like, so just full disclosure, I homeschooled my kids for several years. There is a right and a wrong way to do it. Most people that homeschool their kids do it the wrong way, but there is a right way to do it. Now, the reason we stopped homeschooling our kids was because we could no longer do it the right way. So when it got to that point, it was like, no, we need to send them to school now. And also, if I could go back in time and do it differently, I would. I would not homeschool if I could go back and make all the same decisions that I made then with what I know now. And I think that would have been better for everyone. But, it is what it is, and we made the best with what we could do.
You did the
and
best
we
with what
did
you
the best
had.
with what we had, and they're in school getting a much better education than I could provide for them at this point anyway, right now, and they're all like fucking smart as a whip, so I've no concerns about. Well, I mean, they've been in the actual school system for years now, so if there were any concerns, they would have crept up years ago.
Mhm.
But anyway, so we're going to get into this, but a little bit in the article, so I'll probably skip this since I'm giving an overview now. But Louisiana's thing is that if you homeschool, you have two options for getting your kid a diploma, saying that they graduated high school or whatever. You can either have them, like, you can register them with the government and say, I'm homeschooling my kids, and then you have to send in their test scores to prove that they have actually done the work and have gotten the education, and then they will get a state certified degree saying, yep, we saw the proof that this kid passed the test. Now that is kind of problematic because like you just send in like one set of test results, and it's kind of like the honor system that the parents didn't help the kid pass the test. But like it's more than what we have in Canada, believe it or not.
Okay.
But the other option is you don't do any of that. You don't even tell the state that you're homeschooling. You just don't send your kids to school. And then, but they, like that by itself is technically illegal.
Okay.
However,
Wouldn't that fall under like truancy?
well, it's illegal under the truancy laws or whatever. But in 1980, some laws were passed that deregulated private schools, which basically made it so they took away the requirement that private schools have state certified teachers. They took away the requirement that they have to have a minimum number of students. So what homeschool parents are doing, if they don't want to go the proper government route, is to be like, oh, well, I'm a private school. I have 2 students. And then they then get the power to issue diplomas, but the diplomas are not like certified by the state. So like some colleges and universities will accept them, others won't. You'll have a harder time with that one than you will with.
And I'd imagine some of the colleges and universities that will accept them might also have their own problems with like transferring of accreditation and stuff.
Yeah. So to kind of like that's spoiler for the rest of the article, but what I want to get into here is like they have nearly 9,000 private schools in Louisiana which don't have state approval to grant degrees. Now, I looked it up. Do you know how many private schools there are in all of Canada?
How many?
1,700. Canada
Okay.
has a population of about 40 million people. Louisiana has a population of about 4 million people, but they have 8 times the private schools that we do. Because
Wait, you have 1,700 private schools,
yes,
and Louisiana has 8. Louisiana alone has
9,000. Because
how?
that's the parents trying to get out of having to actually test their children so that they can show that they learned something during homeschool, just sending in the paperwork to register and say, yeah, we're a private school now.
Okay. I mean, I guess it is a little better than it just being that many private schools that just, happen to be on their own land, because that was the logistical nightmare my brain was trying to work around. It was like, how do you have the land for all of that? How do you manage that many in that many cities? Because I think there's like 2. I want to say there were 2 private schools in Pensacola when I was there, Pensacola Christian Academy, and one more. So my brain's like, multiply that by cities. There's not enough cities in Louisiana for that.
No, but that's the thing. Like, to register as a private school, you just have to like fill out the paperwork, sending in, like, you basically just have to answer like, what is your address and how many students are enrolled. And that's it.
You just go like,
they don't even need to know who the students are. They just need the number.
So you could just literally be like, I am a private school and I am fostering my neighbor's kid.
You don't even have to do that. I am a private school. I am educating my kids. So yeah, that's literally it. That, like, it's not actual schools. It's people that are trying to circumvent the homeschooling requirements.
Jesus. And
I'm going to take some flack if I don't do this, but I've had people in the chat that are referencing this. We have to say now, it's over 9,000. Except it's not. It's nearly 9,000. So,
I mean,
you guys are wrong.
Also, the over 9,000 was wrong. It was a dubbing error. It's over 8,000.
That's funny. Adam Broughton says, my friend told me his kids are in a homeschool collective because he doesn't want to vaccinate them or have public schools indoctrinate them. Yeah, that's a lot of the reason why people homeschool, is to get out of... usually it's not vaccination requirements, but it is, like, that is a rising level of one. Got Sakura saying in the original Japanese it was over 8,000.
Yeah, it's...
So, there you go. So maybe it is right
weird.
then.
It's weird that people get upset over the indoctrination thing when, if you really think about it, basically anything that you are giving a child when they don't have the ability to process information other than like regurgitating what's been given to them, it is a form of indoctrination.
Yeah.
The problem isn't whether it's an indoctrination. The problem is whether you are teaching them something that is good and true.
Like, I mean, if you're against indoctrination, like, you're pulling them out of the public school system where they will encounter many different people from many different walks of life, and so have the experience where they're exposed to more things than they would at home, even in somewhere that's as well. Louisiana is fairly diverse, but let's go to Utah, say, where it's all like a bunch of white people. You're still going to meet people from different walks of life. There's going to be more diversity in a school than out of it. You're going to be exposed to more worldviews that way. Just
they're
by
going to be
definition.
Indoctrinated in the homeschool environment.
Yeah, so like to pull them out of an environment where it's not, they're not taught that the way that this kid thinks is better than the way that kid thinks. They're just going to be exposed to these other kids. To pull them out of that experience and say, no, this is how everything is, and you will not deviate from this whatsoever. Like, that's literally the pot calling the kettle black here with the whole indoctrination thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Progress only saying diverse does not equal integrated. That's a good point.
Yeah, so my question is, as someone who did student teaching in Louisiana, how the hell do these unapproved schools are going to help with the state's literacy issue? They're not. So when I was working at Walmart years and years and years ago, there was a cart pusher there who was 44 and did not know how to read in Crestview, Florida.
That actually reminds me, I looked this up as well. There's more private schools in Louisiana than there are Walmarts in the United States. Oh, that got cut off. There's 4,717 Walmarts in the United States. So there's more than almost twice as many private schools in Louisiana than there are Walmarts in the States.
I just having met people who were stonewalled into not being able to do much with their lives because they did not, like, their parents refused to get them an education when they were younger.
Yeah.
I can't fathom a parent willingly putting their child through this, going like, no, they don't need to read. They don't need to know that.
Yeah.
And it sounds ludicrous, but again, like, I've been on the same payroll as these people before.
So I actually came to this one from a Hemant Mehta article where he was talking about homeschooling. I chose not to cover that one because my next article is from Hemant Mehta as well, and I like to have multiple sources.
You don't want to have everything from Hemant Mehta.
Yeah. I don't want to just copy his work and be like, yeah, no, I'm just reading Hemant's blog. But you
don't want to be Dave Rubin.
Yeah.
Where every video of his begins, I found this on the Libs of TikTok account.
Yeah. So the article that Hemant was writing was following a different person that grew up in the homeschool. She was part of the Quiverful movement, and the thing that he was getting at was that she actually like wrote her own high school transcript, and it was just completely made up. Like, she never received a grade for anything, but it was just like, that was one of her school assignments one day, was to write her high school transcript so her dad could sign off on it and she could use it to apply for college. And it had stuff like, in my sophomore year, I studied hunting.
Okay.
And it had her as a volunteer youth counselor. That was one of the courses that she had. That's terrifying because it's a Quiverful movement. She had 15 siblings. So you know that when it's volunteer counselor, it was really the parents saying, hey, look after your younger siblings.
We're gonna go make more siblings real quick. Can you watch over them? Can you cook them their meals?
Yeah. So like, go look at Hemant's blog for that one. It's nuts. And like, she just completely made it up out of whole cloth. And like, she tells the story. If you go and read the original source for that one, she tells the story of how she actually maybe is. No, that's not the one. Okay. I was just making sure that wasn't actually the thing that I decided to cover because it's different enough from this that maybe it was. But like, she did her grades. She's like, I want to have good grades, but I'm going to make it not all perfect because it's more realistic to not be all perfect. And then when she turned it into her father, he was like, why didn't you just give yourself a 4.0 GPA? It's like, because
the father was there for the cheating from the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he was there for. He wanted it to be as easy as possible. I was gonna go and say I wasn't quite Quiverful because part of Quiverful is not just like, does your religious education care about it, but do your family members care about that? And I never got that particular, shindig with mine. But just logistically speaking, I don't see how you can give an even amount of love, care, and attention.
You can't. It's not
to
possible.
15 kids.
I have 5 kids now. I went from 3 to 5 through a relationship, and that's one of the biggest struggles that I have right now, is making sure that I'm still paying enough attention to my own kids when the other 2 are here. Now, thankfully, like, it actually, like, I fucking hate their dad. Like, I've had one conversation with the guy, but like, from what I've seen of how he treats my partner and how he treats his kids even, I fucking hate the guy. He's a complete asshole. But if we had sole custody of her kids, that would be terrifying.
It would be a nightmare.
I mean, we'd manage, but like, we would never have a silent moment in our house ever again. And that's with 5 kids. I can't imagine 15. Like, just the chaos.
There's a reason why with a lot of Quiverfullers, their childhood experiences are raising their siblings. Like, well, that is their childhood.
So have you seen all the seasons of Stranger Things?
Yes.
So the 4th season, when they go to Susie's house in Utah, and it's just a complete chaotic mess.
Oh yeah, because she was always on the talking with them online for like the longest time, and then they went there like, oh, this is
so that's
god awful.
That, like, I feel like that is an accurate portrayal of what a house with that many siblings would actually look like. Because, like, just from my experience with 5, like, yeah, no, absolutely. Like the dad locking himself away to work and not paying any attention and hoping that the older kids are taking care of the younger kids. I can totally relate to that, which is why I don't have 15 fucking children.
It's like with what was I gonna? There was a thought in my head, and then it just disappeared violently. I don't know why it went.
Thoughts do that.
They do, and I hate it because this is the reason that I stopped doing live debate, because I know this happens with my brain, and I'm like, I don't want to be the guy that's like, I had a good point to counter you.
I know we've had this conversation before, but like, go get your ADHD diagnosis, man. Like, you have it. That's a thing.
Well, as soon as I can afford to have a primary care position where I can do that.
Yeah, fair point. Anyway,
America's America.
Back to the article. So many people switched to private school or told their state they were homeschooling. This is during the pandemic. Thousands of others could not be accounted for at all, according to analysis from the Associated Press and its partners. John Oliver recently did a piece on homeschooling that is, quite frankly, terrifying. Avalon of Babylon says, "Hey, Rhino, who's that fleshy nerd with you? Where's the booba girl?" I assure you, there is still the same amount of booba on this call. It's just not as visible.
I'm going to the gym, and I don't know if it's going to go away.
That wasn't just a dig at you.
I know.
We both got the boobas.
They're just covered in hair.
Mine are not. For a Scottish guy who probably had the Italian sneak into his bloodline back when they were on the British Isles, I'm surprisingly hairless underneath my shirt.
Huh. The more you know.
Yeah.
Fan artists, get on that. Now you know. Now you know what to do.
I've got like 6 hairs that are just like there for some reason. It's weird. My body is weird. What can I say?
Like the one guy from Smiling Friends just got the couple hairs that are just out of his head. Are those the only hairs you have on your head? No, they're actually exposed nerves.
Sure. Anyway, so the Louisiana's off the grid school system kids aren't missing, but there's no way to tell what kind of education they're getting or whether they're getting one at all. There's over 21,000 students that are enrolled in the state's unapproved schools, which is nearly double the number from before the pandemic. So this is an increasing problem.
Mm-hmm.
And to supporters of the system, avoiding state oversight is entirely the point, because they're all the Fremen on the land type of people, and like, government's got no business telling me how to educate my kids.
Government can't tell me how I'm supposed to raise my kids. I remember the point I was going to say before.
What's that?
So it's very, very strange to me, transphobic quiverfullers, because one of the arguments that a lot of transphobic fundamentalists will use is that you should not give any gender affirming care to kids because they should have normal childhoods. They should be able to experience their childhood normally. And that is a wonderful criticism that would also mean that anybody else who has a medical problem at, the ripe old age of 9 or 10 should not go to the doctor. Ignoring that, these are the same people who will willingly basically have their children be surrogate parents for other children while also going, these kids should have full and fulfilling childhoods. And it's like, bro, your daughter was literally mother 2 at 12. What?
Yeah. And like, I'm not going to lie. I use Lily for babysitting purposes all the time. There so many times it's like, okay, I just need like 5 minutes of peace to like get dinner in the oven. Can you please go play with the little ones? And it's actually kind of heartwarming because like the youngest one has really taken to her, and they're like best buds all the time.
I've just been informed that Henry Kissinger has just died. He was the advisor under Nixon.
I feel like that's a yay.
I feel like this is cause for celebration.
Yeah.
Question mark?
Yeah. I'm okay. He's one of those people where like I know the name and I have a negative association with him, and I feel like war criminal is an applicable term.
I don't know if I would use that term.
War
I'm not
hawk?
sure. Hawkish, yes.
Okay.
Hawkish, yes, I would go with.
Okay.
Not every hawk's a criminal, because not every hawk has the power to engage in criminal activities.
Yeah, but he did. He was Henry fucking Kissinger. But I also, at the same time, I don't really know what he did. But I know that it was bad.
Hold.
I know that it was bad. I just don't know what it was. And for the charity, we're at 5688.36. So
somebody was like, Henry Kissinger died. Looks like I need to donate.
Somebody needs to donate to celebrate Henry Kissinger's death, or in his memory, if you liked him. If you liked him, probably don't watch the stream. You're probably not going to agree with my politics if you liked Henry Kissinger.
You have somebody who's just like, my hero is Ronald Reagan, and
yeah, you
Ronald
should,
Reagan
you
accessories.
You should go elsewhere if Ronald Reagan is your hero.
I'll take them. I'll take them over on my channel. We'll argue about it. They'll change their mind eventually.
Sure. So Springfield Preparatory School bills itself as an umbrella school for Christian homeschoolers. So this is where like people can homeschool their kids and then send them to this place for like 1 or 2 classes and then pay them.
These are the
money
legitimate classes that they have.
No, they're not legitimate. They're just classes. And the principal, Kitty Sibley Morrison, is also willing to grant a diploma to anyone whose parents say they were homeschooled even years earlier. So, like, you go to her, you pay her money, say, like, yeah, I was homeschooled, but I don't have records of that.
And I don't remember anything I learned.
Sure, here's your diploma. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 times to explain to them that they are free, Sibley Morrison says. Their parents are in charge of them, not the state. When she says free, she doesn't mean monetary. She means, like, free from state oversight.
And, like, freedoms. Jesus Christ.
Senshini says, Henry Kissinger was responsible for 9/11, the 9/11 of 1973. those are different things, Senshini. Come on.
That was their 9/11. Just like January 6th is somebody's 9/11 now.
Okay. I don't condone making fun of people's physical appearances, but like this lady looks like leather got too dry.
I mean, that's just what happens when you're old and you don't take care of your skin, I guess.
I mean, like, I'm probably going to be fucking ugly when I'm older. I don't know. But like that, like I don't know. I saw that and I like my brain immediately went into roast mode. I'm like, I can't say any of that on stream. That was so mean. And it's physical appearance, which like a lot of times you don't really have control over your physical appearance.
Not really. I'm balding.
I am not. I have lush hair.
Ah.
This is my Italian ancestry.
This is where the Keeps advertisement comes in.
I wish. No, like this is so. Yeah, so according to my lineage, I am a purebred Scot. According to my skin complexion, the Romans got in there somewhere. Because like I don't really like I'll get a sunburn at the beginning of the summer, and then I spend the rest of the summer looking olive-skinned, basically. So like that's not how Scottish people deal with the sun.
No, normally they deal with the sun with copious amounts of sunscreen and regret.
Yeah, so so the combination of my darker than most Scottish people complexion and my lush head of hair leads me to believe that yeah, the Romans got into my bloodline somewhere. But like officially I'm as white can be. Anyway, Sibley Morrison,
a hands-off option for homeschooling. Why do you?
That's literally just any homeschooling in most states and in pretty much all of Canada.
Just hand the kid a book. Learn yourself.
So she says she's not selling diplomas, but rather lifetime services for homeschooling families. We're not here to make money, she said. Yet a list of prices is taped to the front window of the school building. $250 for a diploma service, $50 application fee, $35 for a diploma cover, and $130 to walk in a cap and gown ceremony. So that's the 400 and whatever that we saw earlier. Like if you get all the bells and whistles, it's 465 or whatever. I don't know. I can't do the math right now.
I have to wonder how the cap and gown ceremonies work for them, because usually
the cap and gown it's like it looks like they rented a room in a restaurant.
Jesus Christ, that's so sad. The whole point of a cap and gown
through.
ceremony is that you are celebrating that accomplishment with your peers. You're there with other people who went through the experience with you as well, for better or worse.
Yep.
And there are some people that skip their cap and gown ceremonies for one reason or another. But I mean, the point is you're there with other people. Doing it on your own, it's like the saddest kind of LARPing you can do.
They do it with other people. It's just other people that they don't necessarily know and definitely didn't go to school with.
Those pictures looked real solitary.
I mean, there's like maybe
there's
like maybe
there.
20 graduates.
I guess. Are those office chairs? No, those are the stacking chairs.
Yeah, those. Yeah, my church had those chairs. And
they're not super comfy.
I was the janitor at that church.
I'm sorry.
Oh, don't be sorry. I got paid to have sex in the church basement. That was when I was a good little Christian boy. We were married.
It was just kinky in the church basement.
Yeah, it was just like, it was one of those things where it's like, we're married. They hired me as the janitor. I'm like, hey, can I bring my wife to help out? And it's like, we're not going to hire her. So if you're going to do the job faster, we have to pay you less. So sure, why not? And then it was like, we're in the church. There's nobody else in the church. Let's have sex.
Jesus Christ.
So, yeah.
We've learned a new kink for Rhino today.
Actually, it was... No, she wouldn't want me to make this public, so I'm not going to say it. I was going to talk about her kinks, but like she's dead, and she was like... She had the Christian upbringing of shame, where she didn't want to talk about anything like that publicly. So like there was a lot of like before we live streamed, there were a lot of conversations like, how far can I take this conversation? Like, how much can I discuss? And so no, I'm not going to discuss that.
Yeah, you don't go against the wishes just because they're not there to enforce them.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So they say there's precious little information about these schools to which the state calls non-public schools not seeking state approval. To start one, an adult must only report the school's name and address, their contact information, and how many students they have. So that's it. And apparently there are some schools with names like the Ballerina Jedi Academy and the Unicorn
Princess School. Because they can just fill in whatever they want.
Yeah, but then you have to put that on the diploma. So imagine applying for college saying like, yeah, I went to the Ballerina Jedi Academy. Like,
I mean, at least with one of those, you can say it was a religion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a silver lining.
Yeah. Now, most of the schools are tiny single-family homeschools. However, last year, 30 of Louisiana's unapproved schools reported they had at least 50 children enrolled. So those will be like the homeschool co-ops or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The department warns parents on its website that it cannot confirm whether these organizations even meet the legal definition of a school. We didn't want to give parents or anyone a false sense that we knew anything about these schools should they exist, Hawkins said. I don't know who Hawkins is. I don't remember. They probably mentioned them earlier in the article. I was just kind of skimming.
Yeah.
That we could attest to their safety. Yeah. No, they can't attest to their safety, their actual education program, or anything about the schools. So.
They have to basically go like, these schools exist, and because of how they exist, we have to wipe our hands of everything where they're concerned, because otherwise we might be held accountable for little things like, accreditation, which could get awkward.
Yeah. And Lord of Uzcalak says, well, people do put Jedi on the census as their religion. Yeah, they do.
They do. But when you're looking at a census, you're looking at like billions of people or millions of people as numbers, as opposed to like somebody doing a background check on you for a job going, hey, what's this?
Yeah, so there are no requirements to prove a child is getting an education. In fact, these schools don't even have to submit the names of the students who are attending. Basically everything I talked about earlier.
It's fully hands-off in every way, shape, and form.
Yeah. I kind of spoiled the whole story by summarizing it at the beginning. So
that's fine.
So yeah, let's go on to the next story. But before we go on to the next story, I need more people to donate to Project Share. Because Project Share is fucking amazing. And they do a lot of good work in the Niagara region. They help a lot of people in need. including some of the victims of homeschooling. It's like if you end up homeschooling and you can't qualify for like a good job, that's a good predictor of poverty, unfortunately. But
it feels so predatory. And like I know it is. That's not just a feeling in the back of my brain, but it is. It makes me mad because I went to a private school and I dealt with people who had those upbringings in the work environment around me. And on the one hand, you would get frustrated going, this person feels useless. And then on the other hand, you're like, that's not their fault, though.
So speaking of getting mad, though, facing lawsuits, Archdiocese of Washington challenges law empowering abuse survivors.
Hey, this literally church going, hey, guess what? Look at, all those kids we diddled? We don't want them talking about it. We don't want them being able to seek legal recompense.
So Maryland eliminated the statute of limitations for survivors of child sexual abuse. And the archdiocese, one of the archdioceses that's affected by this, is arguing in court that it's an illegal law.
Why would you even try to defend that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Why would you?
Okay, if you are supporting an organization that goes to court to say, hey, people who we sexually abused when they were children, if it happened long enough ago, they shouldn't be able to get compensation for that. That's the bad guy. How are they not the bad guy? Like, and it's not even a question of like if they sexually abuse these kids. It's like this is the result of one of those reports that came out that found hundreds of kids were abused by dozens of priests since however long ago. And the church is like, no, that happened a long time ago. So like, no, you shouldn't be able to get compensation for it now because it was a long time ago. And like, never mind that we're supposed to be like representatives of God here on earth.
It baffles my mind because let's say, for instance, a lot of times the statute of limitations is like 7 years, right? 7 years past the point, then you do the thing. Think about how many priests have done something to a kid who was under 7, or not under 7. I mean, sometimes under 7.
Under 11.
Under 11. Somebody who's under 11. So somebody who would live their entire childhood with the statute of limitations passing them by the time they became an adult. So by the time they have the ability to even begin the process of seeking legal recompense outside of their parents, who are probably members of that church and probably don't want to seek anything legal in the first place because there's a whole culture of shame around that too. Mm-hmm. Those kids are now, they're locked. They would be completely locked. They'd go, oh, I'm an adult now. And there's nothing, like, I'm in the part of my life where I should be able to do something about this, and now I suddenly can't.
Yeah, so this is one of those things where, like, anytime you bring up priest sexual abuse, the people who defend the church will be like, oh, well, sexual abuse happens in schools, too, and it happens in these other places where you entrust your children.
Yeah, I remember when Mr. Brass did exactly that.
But here's the thing, like, when it's caught in school, like, you don't have school boards suing to say, hey, we need to protect our teachers from rape allegations. We need to protect our teachers from the legal ramifications of the fact that they raped kids. Like, no, you don't have that. You do have that with the church. That's why the church fucking sucks. Because, like, when a teacher is found doing stuff like this, the teacher's reported, sent to prison, and the family gets compensation. When the church does it, the priest is moved to somewhere that's outside of their jurisdiction, and then they fight tooth and nail against having to give any sort of legal compensation.
Yeah, usually they're sent to like Chile or something like that.
Yeah. So the Archdiocese of Baltimore declared bankruptcy, which allowed certain parts of the church to continue functioning while limiting the damages the Archdiocese would inevitably face. There's kind of another issue, is that the way the Catholic Church is set up in these archdioceses or whatever, where it's like, oh, well, yeah, sure, the Archdiocese of Baltimore fucked a bunch of kids, but like you can't hold the church itself responsible. You have to hold that specific archdiocese responsible. Never mind they pay their membership dues or whatever it is to like be officially part of the Catholic Church. You can't sue the Catholic Church itself.
It's the Chick-fil-A thing all over again. We're like, whatever your stance is on buying, Chick-fil-A, I don't care what it is one way or another. But
my stance is don't buy it.
When somebody levies the criticism against Chick-fil-A that like, hey, they've donated to organizations that would prevent trans and gay people from being let into a homeless shelter, that's stuff that they, allowed in the past. And then your criticism of that is, okay, but they're franchised, so not all franchises did that. Like, no, if you buy a franchise, you are considered representative of that brand, no matter if it's a McDonald's or Burger King or what have you. So regardless of what your stance is on buying the food, you still have to accept that criticism is salient, no matter which Chick-fil-A bought it. It doesn't matter. Like you have to address that criticism one way or another.
Yeah. On a similar note, since we're approaching the holiday season, don't put money in the Salvation Army jars. They're an LGBTQ hate group. Don't do it. Give money to Project Share instead by going to share.vicerhino.com, which should work theoretically. Ooh, also, I just set up an email address and I had to pay $20 for this, so you better make it worth it. If you see some news that you want us to cover on Twit tweets, send it to news@vicerhino.com. So send me links there, because sometimes it's hard for me to find news stories. So your help is appreciated. News@vicerhino.com.
There you go.
Oh shit.
just clicked right away from it.
I went for the mouse and my finger hit the Just Us button. It's the romantic scene of just you and me.
Get out of my house.
Okay, so the Archdiocese of Washington, which is also affected by the changes, is arguing in court in two separate cases that the new law violates the Maryland Constitution. They're fighting against having to compensate the victims of child sex abuse. Again, can't reiterate that enough. I mean, I can, because YouTube is going to demonetize this for sure if I keep doing it. But I don't fucking care. I feel like the victims of child sex abuse deserve more money than I do from this video being monetized. So, yeah, I'm willing to lose monetization to say they deserve some compensation.
It's a very weird thing to try to defend, right? So the statement, if you don't want to sound like a predator, don't say things that make you sound like a predator. Mm-hmm. This is that kind of thing. Like, if you don't want to sound like you're a rapist organization that rapes kids, then don't try to do things that sound like you're a rapist organization looking for better legal defenses for raping kids. Maybe don't do that. Maybe that would help your image overall. I don't know. Maybe I could be y'all's PR team by just dissolving the entire infrastructure.
Yeah. So Adam Broughton says, sadly, a close family member stands on kettles for the Salvation Army every year and helps count the proceeds. I mean, they do some good. In a time in my life when I was in need, the Salvation Army did help me out with some bills at one point.
Mm.
But I don't give them money because they're not accountable to where the money goes, because they're a religious organization. They can send it wherever the fuck they want, and they don't need to tell anyone. And they're one of these organizations that has consistently been like, oh yeah, no, we promise we'll stop giving to LGBTQ hate groups, and then they're caught giving to LGBTQ hate groups a little while later.
Mm.
So yeah. It is what it is.
Yup.
The law in Maryland used to be that no survivor of child sexual abuse could sue beyond the age of 38. So if you passed the age of 38 and you hadn't sued yet, you were out of luck. And also defendants who didn't commit crimes, like the Catholic Church itself, like it said, there's the Catholic Church and then there's all these archdioceses. So the church itself was not considered to be liable, whereas the archdiocese would. So you couldn't sue the church, you could only sue the archdiocese. So then when an archdiocese did something like, I don't know, declare bankruptcy, like the Baltimore one did, you couldn't sue them anymore. Or like there was a very limited time period where you could sue in order to try and be included in the bankruptcy settlement. So the newer law lifted both of those restrictions, so now you can sue the Catholic Church itself if the archdiocese declares bankruptcy. Good. And if you're older than 38, you can still sue. Also good.
Yep.
Those are both good things, and the church is fighting against them.
Because they do not want people having the power to sue them. They are terrified of people having that kind of ability, because they know for a fact when people have that kind of ability, it will be used against them and it will be used to drain their pocketbooks. Because that's ultimately what it comes down to. It's not about saving face for the organization, because if it was about saving face, they wouldn't be fighting about it in the first place. They would just be like, we accept the judgment for the bad things the church has done. God will purge us or something.
Yeah.
It's about like saving their coffers.
If you are a representative of God on earth, then you should want to purge your organization of child predators. I don't see why that's controversial.
If everyone in the organization is some form of child predator, they have no reason to purge.
And then I would call into question whether or not they're an organization that represents God.
I wouldn't, because I think that the God they serve is an asshole, but that's just me.
Yeah, true. Fair point.
You're like, yeah, no, you're definitely representing God. Congratulations.
Yeah. So this is coming in the wake of the another one of these reports that found over 600 children, with emphasis, but the number is likely far higher, were abused by 156 predators working with the Catholic Church since the 1940s. So like every time one of these reports is released, it's always terrible. Like it's always like here's the thought. If you are part of an organization that has a list of people that you know are child predators, and you're waiting for the authorities to say, hey, could you give us... Because that's the way a lot of these reports were compiled, was the authorities just went to the church and said, hey, can you please hand over your list of known child predators? And they'd be like, sure, here you go, here's the list. That's how a lot of the information from these reports came about. And like when you hear that the Catholic Church was cooperating, that's what they mean by that. That means that they had the list already, and they were like, here you go. Here's our list of people that we know are fucking kids. It's like, if you have that list, don't wait for the authorities to come to you. Just fucking hand it over.
But again, it is because it is about finances. Ultimately, if they hand the list there, they have to start draining their coffers immediately in legal fees and shit like that. That is the reason they're doing that. It doesn't make it better. It makes it infinitely worse. So
I'm so like kind of drunk, like I'm not drunk, but I'm a little bit slurring my speech. I just missed my mouth with the beer. I'm like covered in beer right now.
I thought that was a fantasy of yours, just being covered in beer.
You can't see it on camera, but like I just looked down. There's just like foam all over me from this last thing because I missed my mouth with that last sip.
I'm sorry, Ryan.
The Catholic Church is driving me to drink.
I'll make sure not to miss your mouth.
Ooh. Onlyfans.com/Vice Rhino and Cirrus.
VR, do you need a sippy cup? Get you a sippy cup for beer?
Actually, I used to work at a winery that sold sippy cups for wine. Not even kidding.
Okay, then.
And like all of the marketing language that was on those displays made it sound like you were supposed to drive with this cup. But they were very careful to separate that from like actually like having alcohol in the container. Like you could put anything in it, like juice, while you're driving, but also it's a wine glass.
You could use it to drink soda, but we all know you're using it for champagne.
Yeah. It was actually so the company, like the winery that I worked for at the time, they got their start making Baby Duck, not champagne, the sparkling wine or whatever, which older people will probably recognize as the cheap champagne stuff, the cheap champagne-like thing that you would buy just to get drunk, but it's actually terrible.
The thing that you have to mix with a billion fruit juices to get it palatable.
Yeah. And I was actually at their 50th anniversary party. I worked their 50th anniversary party, and they had someone in a baby duck mascot costume thing wandering around. It was actually kind of fun.
Huh.
That was one of the jobs that I actually enjoyed.
Okay. Fair enough. I cannot look, if you enjoyed walking around in baby duck cosplay I'm not going to king shame.
No, I wasn't the one in the baby duck costume.
Why not?
Because they didn't ask me. You can bet your ass I would have said yes if they'd asked me. Like, hey, do you want to wear a baby duck costume and just walk around waving at people? Like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'd do that. Pretend like I'm being sociable while not having my face visible, and I can be like scowling at people the entire time. Absolutely, I'll fucking do that.
God, that reminds me of the catharsis of being a clerk at a gas station, and anytime a customer pissed me off, I just flicked them off under the counter and just like, I have power.
So I was still working at the restaurant when the pandemic started, and so when we all had masks, the mask was one of my favorite things as a server, because I could mouth "fuck off" every time somebody did something stupid, and they would never know. Because as long as I don't let my eyes reflect it, you're like, oh, fuck off. You're fucking kidding me. Really? Fuck off. But they can't see my mouth, so whatever.
Jesus.
It was great. I loved it. I'm such an angry person sometimes.
The more drunk Rhino gets, the more we're like, oh, the name actually is descriptive of something. He has a vice, and his vice is rage.
It wasn't just that it happened to be an anagram for Eric Hovind. Which, so it was in a private chat that I don't necessarily have permission to divulge the specifics of, but I will say I saw Eric Hovind's signature today, and just the way he writes his name, his last name looked like horny, and then my mind, like the way he wrote his first name, it was not legible. It didn't really look like it on thinking back on it, but like, because I read his last name as horny first, my mind backfilled his first name as very. So he signed his name Very Horny.
He's very horny.
So, and that tracks. Anyway, yeah, that's basically all I want to get out here. If you still support the Catholic Church, you are supporting a known criminal organization that protects pedophiles. That's all there is to it. But Cirrus.
Yeah?
Cirrus, I am so fucking happy that I have your face on camera for this next headline.
Oh dear.
This next headline is fantastic. I was on the verge of being like, you know what? We have no problem shooting the shit. We can drag it out if I only have 2 news stories.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to do for a 3rd news story. Nothing is really appealing to me that I want to cover. But then I saw this headline. I was like, oh, fuck no. We have to fucking cover that.
Okay, so you want my reaction for this headline.
And your face is on camera, so it's amazing.
Okay, what do we have?
Gay furry hackers infiltrate huge nuclear lab to demand catgirl research.
Internet was a mistake. Internet was a mistake. I have the hammer still. I'm just gonna use it. I don't want a migraine. Is the only reason I'm not using it right now.
I saw this headline. I was like, how can I not? How can I not?
Why? What is this? Jesus Christ.
I don't fucking know. I don't know.
What are we? What world are we in where this is a legitimate headline that we get to read?
This comes just from Pink News.
I would like to remind everybody in my chat that during topics and in collabs, there are no redeems, so you're wasting your points and they need to be refunded by mod. I made this announcement before and I need to do better about reinforcing it.
Somebody donated $100 for that headline. I don't know who it was, but thank you.
It's worth it. It's worth it.
So one of the biggest nuclear laboratories in the U.S. has been hacked by self-proclaimed gay furry hackers who have jokingly demanded its employees focus on research into real-life cats.
Real-life cat girls.
Cat girls, yes, yeah. Sorry, my apologies.
I need to remind everybody that you don't actually want a cat girl GF, because if you like the idea of having a blowjob or being eaten out, I want you to think of what a cat's tongue is like. And now that you've thought about it for a quarter second.
No, that could be fun. That could be fun.
Do you want the flesh stripped from your number?
No, extra friction, man. Friction feels good.
That's not extra friction. That's sandpaper, Rhino.
So Rosina Keller says, can we get an uwu from VR? I will do a proper uwu if the fundraiser reaches $6,000 tonight. Anyway, so this is
Dark Excalibur says, joke's on you. I don't like sex and I want a girl who will knock glasses off tables.
Nice. So on November 20th, the Idaho National Laboratory, which employs about 6,100 people, was hacked by SiegeSec, who posted a sample of data and threatened to release more unless the lab caved to its demands. The hacktivist group offered to keep secret the huge amounts of employee data they claim to hold, which includes social security numbers, birthdays, and phone numbers, if the lab agreed to the bizarre deal. If they research creating IRL cat girls, IRL is in real life for the boomers in the audience, we will take down this post, the group promised. Oh, yeah, of course, they have to explain it. IRL cat girls refers to the creation of real cat-human female hybrid. So this is where, like, I'm glad I had your face for the reaction, but I'm kind of sad that you're not a cat in cat girl form right now.
For this particular one.
But then this is the best, because they have the big quote section, which is just meow, 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 meow. This is a fucking real news item. They actually got hacked and posted this demand.
Jesus Christ, why do we live in this world? What? I'm not even upset, Rhino. I'm not even upset. I am here experiencing this with you.
Well, like, it was a choice between this or another story about fucking kids. So, like, I'm going with the cat girls.
Yeah, at least they consent to the... Okay, I'll take it. I'll take it.
So SiegeSec, which is also claimed to have breached NATO's IT security twice this year, boasted about the hack of INL's data in public posts that began meow, 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 meow. That's where the quote came from. You know, meow, 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 meow. The group added to its announcement on Telegram that it has so much crunchy data before claiming it had messaged users via the Oracle software the lab has, showing our access before making the proposition about cat girls. In response to questions about why they chose to hack INL, they commented on social media, "We are cats. Intricacies such as why do not concern us."
Jesus Christ! Why
this is amazing.
Are people like this?
This is amazing. How could I not cover this?
It's not that I don't agree with your choice, Rhino. I agree with it. It's that I don't know if I can agree with their choice.
Drew Harrison says cat licks are endearing, dogs will lick anything. I don't know. I have a dog now. I am a cat person. I prefer cats over dogs, but I do have a dog. And that would be like the dog came with my partner, so like I didn't really have a choice there. Actually, the dog was part of my partner's decision-making process in choosing to stick around with me, because the dog actually liked me, and the dog was very much not a fan of other men that she had brought back to the apartment. So
fair.
It's like, yeah, fair. And it's a great dog. Love the dog. But cats kind of take care of themselves, and I'm lazy, so there's that.
so long as you change their litter out and make sure that they have their flea meds.
Oh, I have fucking kids, man. Like, just be like, hey, Lily, go do the litter. And I'm done. And if you keep if they're an indoor cat, you don't need to worry about flea meds, generally speaking, because you get fleas from letting them go outside and interact with other animals that might have fleas.
Or in the case of where I live, fleas and ticks just happen to be outside
Yeah. No,
So we have to keep the dogs and cats medicated all the time.
Same thing here. But so if you keep your cat inside, you don't really need to worry about fleas. So yeah.
Unfortunately, we have dogs. The dogs have to go outside.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's another point in favor of cats, because the cats can stay inside. In fact, it's better for your local ecology if you keep the cats inside.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we're at $6,000. Was that where I said I'd give an uwu?
Yeah, it's where you said you would do the thing.
How do you normally do it?
You're not getting me that easy. Nice try, though.
Okay, I honestly don't know the proper way of doing this, but uwu. I don't know. Is that it? Is that a good one?
No, but I'm not gonna stop.
Uwu. 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 I'm just gonna do every single iteration of uwu that I can think. Thank you to whoever got us to $6,000. I appreciate it. We're now at $6,038.36. Where are my OCD people at that need to even out the dollar amount? Come on, sirs, get back here. I'm done. I'm done ooh-ooing.
Okay.
Sirs is back to being slime.
I'm back.
Luigi Potter says higher pitch normally. So, ooh-oo. Is that the appropriate way to do it?
All right, everybody. I'm back. New model unlocked. I guess.
It's the real Sir Slime. What a tail you have. That is a big tail.
It's a
woo indeed.
Oh, do I just have to put it like right about there?
Binary Hedgehog says Rhino is the most threatening furry. I don't know why I'm threatening.
Shaw says a tail ring in quotes.
Avalon of Babylon says nod sagely, meow. I think that came when I was quoting the article that was being all like meow, 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 meow.
No more meows.
Meow.
Said hippos are more threatening than rhinos. That is actually 100% true.
Hundo P. Yeah.
I would never want to fuck with a hippo.
Nope. No, those things are scary.
If you've ever seen their jaws crack a watermelon, just know that's the least of what they can do.
Yeah, so that was Rosina Keller sent $250 saying, I want a proper uwu. Corey sent $100 saying, I've been watching your content for a long time. It's been helping me be a pain in the ass for religious people. We'll use good information to do it. I appreciate it. Thank you. Fennec the Rabbit gave another $15. Naramdaput gave $6.70 for RIP funding number. You were funny. And Anonymous gave $59.56. So those are all the donations we've had on this stream so far. And,
well, now that we've heard about furries, I guess we have to hear about tweets next, right?
Yeah, we gotta do the tweets.
We do.
Gotta do the tweets. Starting off with the case orbs, though, so starting strong. So Kamala Harris, vice president, posted a picture for Thanksgiving with her husband, and in the background was a gas stove. Kevin Sorbo retweeted that picture saying, I thought gas stoves were bad for the environment. And so, yeah, they are. Like, first off, absolutely, 100%. That's undeniable. You're burning a fucking fossil fuel in your home. Duh. Mm-hmm. It's bad for the environment. Secondly, like this is one of those things where like a lot of people were retweeting this and like
thinking it's an own,
saying it was like hypocrisy on their part because like, oh, they're banning gas stoves and yet they have gas stoves. And it's like, no, they're not banning gas stoves. They're banning gas stoves in new construction. But so here's the thing. Are you familiar with the channel Technology Connections?
I'm not actually, no.
Okay, the guy's a complete fucking nerd. It's basically like it's ADHD hyperfocus candy. And like so he goes into great detail about stuff that like nobody even fucking cares about, but like it'll be like, "Oh, you have piqued my interest. I will watch this 30-minute video on the popcorn button of a microwave."
Oh, I've seen the thumbnails for his videos.
Yes,
because that's the one I've seen. Okay,
he's fucking great. But like, so he did a video where he was talking about it was his video on kettles and like why kettles aren't popular in North America. And like, spoiler alert, the reason kettles aren't popular in North America, or at least not as popular as they are in England, is because we don't drink tea as much. And as a tea drinker, I'm like, yeah, that's the one thing I use my kettle for. So if I didn't drink tea, I probably wouldn't have a kettle.
the only reason I had one for a while was for cup ramen.
Oh yeah, we're getting to that. We've got oh, fuck off, right click menu. Adam Broughton sent $5, says I forked out almost $3,000 for an induction stove in my condo and I love it. We're getting there. So in his kettle video, he was like, because that's one of the hypotheses that is like why kettles aren't popular is because we have 120 volt wiring, whereas they have 240, so it takes longer to boil water even with a kettle. And yes, that's true, but kettles still boil water faster than the stove does. And so he did a bunch of tests, and he found that like as far as like how quick a stove will heat something, induction stoves are the best.
Okay.
An electric stove that is just the bare exposed element, the coil element, that's the second best. An electric stove under a glass top, that's the third best.
That's what I have.
The gas stoves fucking sucked.
Because
the thing with the gas stove is you're not just heating, like when you put it on an electric stove, especially one that has like different size options of it, like because my stove is an electric stove under a glass top. And the two front elements have options. You've got the big circle that you can turn on, or you've got the little circle, and then the one on the right has like an even smaller circle. So like you can make the stove fit your pot so that it's only heating your pot. It's not sending heat up around the sides. You can't do that with gas. And so with gas, what happens is like a lot of the heat just escapes out the sides.
That does end up working out well for people who cook in woks, though. There are some cookwares that are made for that type of environment.
Sure, but most people don't. Not in North America, anyway.
Also, I've been using woks on electric stoves, and it's fine. Just saying.
That too. Yeah, so like as long as like so the gas stove, like it wastes so much heat not heating up the thing that you're heating up. And then he actually measured the CO2 levels in his living room while he cooked dinner one night. And with a gas stove, the CO2 levels doubled. So it's really shitty for indoor air quality. It's really shitty for efficiency. So, and he did like he did his measurements with boiling water. So like you boil the same amount of water on each things. It boils fastest in the kettle, second fastest in induction, and like third fastest on electric.
So not only do you have all the
gas
escaping
was the
heat,
slowest.
not only do you have all the escaping heat, it's literally just polluting your breathing environment on top of the heat just escaping and not getting used for the purpose you're spending it on.
Yeah, so you're wasting money.
Jesus Christ.
You're wasting money heating up your house rather than the we got another $250 from Jet saying hope this helps. Thank you very much. That does indeed help. We're at 628836, which is amazing, but still $3,700 shy, a little more than $3,700 shy of the $10,000 goal. Come on, where's my OCD people at? Come on, we raise so much money trying to just make things even, and then other people fucking with them. I don't know. Is exploiting mental illness to raise money for charity a bad thing?
It's doing an evil for the purpose of a good. So you are currently an anti-hero.
Okay. So anyway. So Sorb says, I thought gas stoves were bad for the environment. Absolutely. But you know what else is bad for the environment? Manufacturing. So if you already have a gas stove and it works fine and you have no reason to replace it, it's probably better for the environment as a whole to not replace it with an electric stove. It might be better for your family to replace it with an electric stove because like, you know, the CO2 is just the easiest to measure toxin that is given off by burning fossil fuels inside your home.
It's it's really weird to think of how married people get to these things. It's what's the best way to put this? Because I covered the Dave Rubin thing where he was talking about the gas stoves and freaking out about them, despite it being just a building code thing, where you can literally you can buy a gas stove and take it into your house and nobody will stop you.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing stopping that.
They just can't put it in a new construction home and sell the home to the first owner with a people just need to buy their own gas stoves if they want a gas stove.
It's the same thing with when they're building new like high-rise apartments, they can't put a gas stove in the high-rise apartment.
Yeah.
Like that's mainly what it's for more than anything. But a lot of people when they're buying a fully furnished home, it might not come with those appliances. Sometimes if they're not fully furnished, you're just buying the house that's just been built. It might not have it at all anyway.
Well, so there's also like a convenience factor in that. Like, I just spent $1,000 on a microwave because we're getting our kitchen renovated, and as part of, we're renovating the house so that we can have not 4 kids sharing one room.
Yeah,
like we're finishing the basement and getting everything done proper down there, so that, they can get out in case of fire and stuff like that, and like having some basement bedrooms. And as part of that, we're also renovating the kitchen. It's like, okay, well, this is our budget, and you can do the basement for under that budget. Sure, let's do some kitchen stuff. And I just spent $1,000 on a microwave, which is fucking overkill. But it's because it's a microwave that also has like heating elements in it that it can act as like an air fryer or convection oven or something.
That's one of the multi-purpose ones.
Yeah. So and like normally I'd say like no, if you don't, like I would probably not use this regularly, except we are a family of 7 people where one person is a vegetarian. So there's often like, okay, well, your vegetarian thing requires different cooking parameters, but you're just the one person out of 7 of us, so it's just going in the oven at the same temperature as everything else, and like if it's a little bit burned, sorry.
It's just kind of how it has to be.
So like I got this extra, like I paid extra for the microwave because like, okay, well now we can cook stuff for her that is it's actually going to be more enjoyable for her, and it like is going to be cooked better. So like that's why we did that. So like it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I could have spent that money on like upgrading my stove to induction or something, which is the best kind of stove as far as efficiency is concerned. But like, there's also family efficiency to consider. I don't even know why I started making that point. I don't remember.
Striker says, how would you connect the gas stove into a new house? So as somebody who had to get a house renovated, there is a thing that will happen where your contractor will go, hey, there is room here for a gas hookup. Would you like us to just put the line in? Because that's all it really is them putting a line in. And then the appliance does most of the regulating. And if you're on city gas, then they would just put a line in for the city gas, or the line would be there and available, and you just wouldn't use it all the time. So what will happen is during the construction process, they'll go, hey, you have a choice when we're putting in your furnace. Do you want it to be a furnace attached to the gas line you have, or do you want it to be electric? And then what used to be the case is they would go, as we're putting in your stove, do you want it to be an electric stove hooked up to this power meter here, or do you want it to be attached to the same line? And you get to pick the things. For me, I went electric stove, and I have gas heat, but that gas heat doesn't mean anything because my central is out. But that's the point there, is that there's nothing saying that you can't have the hookup. It's the stove itself, because the gas furnace is not as inefficient as the stove is. The escaping heat is the point of the furnace.
So, Lord of Uzkalak says, I thought you spent money on a microwave because one of your kids blasted the old one with the fire extinguisher. The old one still works. However, having that ammonia, whatever it is, powder, dust, all over electronic stuff is probably not good for longevity. Excuse me. So that microwave
might not be.
That microwave might not be much longer for this world. I don't know. The main thing is, like, as part of the kitchen renovations, we're like moving we've got our stove is like right up against 3 cupboards that we've never been able to use in the 12 years I've lived in this house because the stove is up against them. So as part of the kitchen renovations, like, let's move the stove over, we can like wall off this doorway that nobody ever fucking uses anyway, and like put the stove over there. And as part of that, we're getting like an over-the-range microwave to give us more counter space instead of having the countertop microwave. And just the fact that microwave might die at any minute because of all the fire extinguisher dust that's in it is just
it's better to have the replacement.
It's been a good microwave, though. Anyway, PragerU says, name one thing the government should not be involved in. The genders of the people that are getting married. Or how about just marriage in general? Like, I understand the idea of, like, registering for tax purposes, but aside from that,
they shouldn't have a say
marriage is none
in
of their fucking business. That's a private relationship.
Dress code. Outside of being like cover your genitals.
Along those lines, Naramdaput says underwear choices.
Yeah, we don't want the Mormon government saying that we need to have the magic underwear to go outside legally.
You need to qualify for the magic underwear in Mormonism, though. Ooh, Alexis Markle says healthcare. Nope, strong disagree there.
No, they should be involved in healthcare.
Yeah, absolutely.
It turns out that not having the government involved in healthcare means that your healthcare is unregulated. And when your healthcare is unregulated, like just not even counting single payer healthcare as a thing, but when your government is not regulating healthcare, you get the problem we have with American chiropractic. So for those who don't know, there are some countries that have very, very regulated chiropractic practices where it can be used for things like loosening up a pinched nerve, something like that. In America, however, we have unregulated chiropractic. You can get a license from anywhere that says that they have it, and there's no bar, there's no nothing. The result of this is that you can go 90% of the chiropractic offices in Georgia will be anti-vaxxers telling you that popping your back will cure your cancer. That's what you get when you have unregulated medicine of any kind.
Apparently, Alex Markle misunderstood the question. I think they might have heard name one thing the government should be involved in.
Okay, fair enough.
So yeah, fair point. Thank you for the correction. I've seen this person before. I feel like they have similar opinions to mine, so that was kind of surprising to me. But yeah, so just. People who are against government-provided healthcare generally would say that they're against it because, like, oh, I don't want to pay for someone else's healthcare because, like, they're taxing me to pay for someone else's healthcare. It's like, what do you think insurance is? Like, insurance is collectivizing healthcare. You're paying your premiums. Those premiums go to paying for other people's healthcare that did not use the services, or that did use the services. That because, like, most months. Most people don't use healthcare services.
Yep.
So those premiums go to paying for the people that are using the services. But the problem is, so like either way, whether you go with insurance or whether you go with the government, it's collective. But
it's just which one is going to be better at it.
Yeah. So the problem with insurance is with private insurance companies, their whole thing is we need to turn a profit. So it goes from like, just everybody covers everybody else's healthcare expenses to we need to cover everybody's healthcare expenses and make extra money on top of that. So it becomes much more expensive than if it's done through the government who is not concerned about profits.
Yep. See, a government generally has a incentive themselves. If they are the only ones who are dealing with you, they have an incentive on keeping you healthy, because if you are healthy,
then it costs you less money.
Yeah,
that too. Yeah.
And if you're healthy, you can work, and if you can work, you can pay taxes. That, like, just from an Occam's razor point of view, taking any other tinfoil hat nonsense out of the equation, if you are healthy, you can work. If you can work, you can pay taxes. Therefore, a government is incentivized in keeping you healthy. Every single nut job that's like the government's trying to keep us unhealthy for this, that, and no, it's private industry that's doing that. It's been that the entire time, because private industry does not want you healthy, because a sick person buys medicine. Government, on the other hand, would rather you be healthy and working and stimulating the economy. That's what they care about.
Yeah. So I just looked up the numbers. In 2023, the average cost for a family healthcare plan through an employer-sponsored health insurance policy is $23,968 for the year. That's just under $2,000 a month in health insurance premiums. That's not including the deductible. That's not including copays or anything like that. That's just your premium is almost $2,000 a month. As a Canadian who pays for healthcare through taxes, I have never paid more than $700 per year for my entire family. So, like, that's the difference in cost when you have it, and both are collectivized. So, like, get out of here with that, like, oh, I don't want to pay for someone else's healthcare bullshit. What do you think? You already are. What do you think your premium pays for? That's what your premium pays for. It's not paying for you in the future. It's paying for other people who are needing healthcare now.
Back when Raz and I were together, I paid for her healthcare, and it was $450 a month. That's what it was. I could not afford healthcare for myself because we had to make a choice between which one of us would get healthcare, and Raz got the healthcare.
Yeah. So, yeah, if the government's in it, they don't have the profit motive. So it's much cheaper because they don't have to they don't have to look at it and say, like, I have to cover everybody's expenses and then make profit. They just look at it as I have to cover everybody's expenses.
And yet, PragerU, being the type of people, they're gonna have, I guarantee you, under their thing, there's gonna be people who are like, the government shouldn't be involved in anything.
Oh, guaranteed. Yeah, 100%. They're a bunch of like anarchist nut jobs and like.
I wouldn't say anarchist. I'd say libertarian.
Libertarians pretend to be anarchists, but they're not.
I am an anarcho-capitalist, and what that means is I'm a fuck.
What that means is I liked Atlas Shrugged for some reason, which is a terribly written book.
It's like
have you seen the movie trilogy?
I haven't seen the movie trilogy.
Oh, it's so bad. It's one of those good bad movies where it's like, oh, mwah. It's so beautiful.
You're enjoying how awful it is.
Yeah, I mean, there were a couple moments of sadness, like Robert Picardo is in one of them. He's the guy who played the Doctor on Star Trek Voyager, where he's like, oh, come on. You're lending yourself to Ayn Rand shit. Come on.
At a certain point, a paycheck's a paycheck. I get it.
His whole thing on Star Trek Voyager was, I'm giving healthcare for free.
Yeah, but again, that's a character he played.
Yeah, I know.
I say this knowing that Discord and Q are the same person. I can't. There's a line.
Yeah, John Delancey just is Q. That's just how it is. Sorry.
Yep.
Capturing Christianity says, I don't like suffering does not equal God has no reason to allow suffering. So I can agree with this. So I do agree with this, but also I still see the problem of evil as a valid argument against Christianity. So like, yeah, maybe there is a reason to allow suffering. However, the degree of suffering and how easy it would be to alleviate that suffering for an omnipotent being does not match up.
My biggest argument against this has always been, if you truly have an omni God, then he is also, by being all knowledgeable, he's infinitely creative, which means he can conceive of any number of ways. Moreover, he can create any number of ways that you can learn a lesson. The whole point of suffering in any narrative is usually either as punishment or for learning a lesson. And if it's used as punishment, it's also so you can learn a lesson through the punishment. That's the point. An infinitely creative God can take anything and turn it into anything. And to argue that he can't is to limit your God, which I don't think Christians are in the market of doing.
Yeah, so I don't know if it was Capturing Christianity that I responded to or if it was someone else, but like with regards to the problem of evil, they were saying that the reason God allows suffering is for personal growth, and like the personal growth that can be brought about through suffering is a great enough good to offset the suffering. Now, first and foremost, that's utilitarian ethics, where it's like, I have assigned a value to this particular thing, which means like this good thing outweighs the bad thing that was required to bring about that good thing, which is
Yeah,
like ends
pulling
justifies the
something
means.
It's pulling something outside of the Christian mythos
Yeah.
to ad
So
hoc
that's-
justify the Christian mythos.
So that's not so that like people who make the moral argument would argue that like, oh well, morality itself, the fact that we have a moral sense is what points to God. And so like anyone who denies God, like they're denying where our morals originate. They can't justify morality, and yet they will use secular justification to say like, oh well, bringing about greater good from suffering justifies the suffering. That's utilitarian ethics. That is appealing to secular morality to justify God's actions or inactions.
It's like the people who use like Aristotelian philosophy to justify the Bible.
Yeah, but like more than that though, they also like in the same video, the person I was responding to, which I think it was capturing Christianity, but like I said, I might be misremembering because I respond to a lot of people. It might have been someone else, but justify like the death of children, the premature death of children was like, oh well these people have been denied the personal growth that would have been achieved through suffering here on earth. It's like, oh well, no, you can still have personal growth in heaven when everything is perfect. It's just not the same, but it's equally good. It's like, okay, well if it's not the same,
then
but
we didn't need the suffering.
Yeah, well if it's not, well it's not the same though. It's different. However, the whole "it's equally good" thing kind of...
It means it's the same.
Yeah, it means it's the same. Like, yeah. Well, no, even if it's still different, if it's equally good, then means...
Then it's fine.
That is fine. Like you don't need the suffering.
But wait, if it's equally good, so like the outcome is equally good.
Yeah.
But the suffering was not important, then actually it's the greater good. If we're just using like a net measurement of good.
Oh, you don't... But Cyrus, that's utilitarian ethics. That's dirty. We don't want to touch that.
we don't want to touch that. Meanwhile, they're touching that.
Yeah.
That's very Catholic Church. We don't touch kids. Meanwhile.
Oh, that's right. He's a Catholic now, isn't he?
Oh yeah. Fuck. I forgot about that. Oh, I have a.
He makes me fucking mad because he increased his Patreon donors by like $3,000 in a month by converting to Catholicism, then being like, I'm running a deficit. I need more money. I'm like, it would be so easy for me to fucking convert to Christianity and be like, hallelujah, I'm starting the Vice Rhino ministry. And then get a bunch of Christians to donate to me because I'm obviously I was a hellbound atheist before, but now I've seen the light.
I felt like
I'd make so much money and it would be tax-free. It'd be fucking tax-free.
You should be 501c3.
I pay tens of thousands of dollars in taxes every year. I could avoid that if I converted to Christianity. And I'd make more money. Like, oh, fucking A. I want to join the bad guys, Cyrus. I want to join the bad guys so bad. Let me join the bad guys. Stop holding me back.
As somebody who owed $10,000 last year in taxes, it was more like $2,000 after I itemized all of my stuff that I spent on channel and such and office, all that things you have to feed the IRS. So they're like, yes, you do operate a business. Still owed over $2,000, and that was not fun to pay. Please don't join the bad guys right now. I understand. I empathize. I'm with you. Don't do it.
No, I have so many videos at this point talking about how I wish I could join the bad guys that like if I actually did, they'd pull that up and be like, no, this guy's just bullshitting us. And I would be.
Like I'm not gonna lie.
I'm not a good liar though, so
yesterday I received just during the stream, I received a very large sum of money in a donation. And I was like, I felt like the luckiest person in the world as it all disappeared into bills and to the credit card debt.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
I was just like, hey, I have it. And then I literally I paid the accounts and showed it on stream going like, full transparency. Here's where the money's gone. I don't have it anymore.
Oh.
Again, don't go to the villain side. I understand your predicament. I'm in it too. Please don't.
Lord of Uzkalak says sacred rites include picking your nose. Did I pick my nose on stream just now? I'm sorry if I did that. I don't think I did that.
At least you didn't do the Nick Fuentes thing.
Oh, that could be so many things.
He picked his nose and ate it on camera when he didn't think it was looking at him.
That tracks.
It does. He's a literal child.
Ugh. God damn it. Anyway, Capturing Christianity said, again, in a tweet just by itself, says, God is perfect. Perfect is a meaningless descriptor on its own. Perfect what? Perfect butt plug? God,
DDLG Playground.
God fills that hole perfectly and stimulates the prostate?
God fills me with love.
Yeah.
Oh, God, fill me with your love.
Lord Jesus, come inside me.
God, the king of edging, his second coming has taken 2,000 years.
Christians always say God is perfect as if that means something. It doesn't mean something unless you say what he is perfect at. What is he perfect at being? Like, we've got Naramda in the chat saying perfectly fictional. Like, yeah, that's
actually
that's something that can be perfect.
Fun paradox: if God is all powerful, he is perfectly fictional because that is within that scope.
Yeah.
If God cannot be fictional, then it's outside of that scope.
But I mean, also, if God is omnipresent, God is already inside my butthole, filling that space perfectly,
filling you up. Mm-hmm.
So God is the perfect butt plug.
He always will be.
Yeah. Oh, this is fun. So Joe from Jers says she retweeted George Takei saying that he's going to vote for Biden, saying, I'm 49 and I'll probably be voting to re-elect both President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris in 2024. Pass it on. Kyle Rittenhouse responded with gross. So she responded to that by saying, fuck off, Kyle, the grown-ups are talking. To which he responded, so much for a grown-up telling a 20-year-old to fuck off, but I guess that's the left for you. It's like, Kyle, you're 20. Are you saying that's not a grown-up? Are you like, does he still think of himself as a child?
I mean, he's been treated like a child hero by the right. He's literally been paraded around. This dude, through doing what he did, got rewarded by being incredibly famous and getting, like, I can, as somebody who's, a social media influencer, that's what we are on YouTube and Twitch and all that.
Don't say influencer.
It is 100% the job.
Not influencer. Influencers are people who will flash their watches that the watch company paid them. Be like, oh yeah, this is my nice whatever the fuck.
I flashed the ideology company made me. They sent it to me in a nice book called Das Kapital or something.
I was approached by a watch company that was like, oh, we make wooden watches with wooden thing, and they look like nice watches, and I don't know. They just seem kind of sketchy.
Understandable. I can't say anything. I've been sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. I'm tainted. I'm tainted.
Yeah, but you streamed right after that being like, yeah, here's why Raid is a piece of shit.
They offered me another sponsorship.
Yeah, they don't fucking care.
They don't know and they don't care. They're just like, get people to sign up for a video game.
Surfshark sponsors me regularly. Like, they've been my most consistent sponsor, the VPN, and I get comments all the time being like, can't you get any sponsors other than a VPN? I was like, yeah, I can, but the VPN's the most consistent. It's like, the reality is all the VPNs are fucking the same. It doesn't fucking matter. Just get a VPN. I appreciate if you use the one that I advertise to you, but they're all the fucking same.
Raid Shadow Legends ends up everywhere sooner or later. It ends up in your cupboards.
I turned them down. I actually responded to their email being like, I will advertise for you as long as I can inject enough sarcasm to make it clear to my audience that I absolutely despise you. And I actually got the response saying I will check with the marketing team to see whether or not that is something that we're willing to do. And then they responded a couple days later being like, yeah, that's not something we're interested in doing. Yeah, I know, man. That was just me saying no in a snarky way.
I need to, oh God, what would I, unfortunately, the ones they've offered me are the ones that they have to have a turnover. So you have to have a certain number of people who are downloading it.
I always say no to that because I'm not a very good salesman at all, even for something that I do believe in.
I'm not either.
So I'm just like, no, if there's a requirement before I get paid, no.
I just have to wonder with as much fame as Kyle Rittenhouse got from everything, he has to have set himself up for life at this point.
Well,
and that's gross to think about.
According to his lawyers, he's broke. However,
how?
Well, so this is the thing. They're saying he's broke, but he's kind of the center of, I think he's being sued right now. for something. I forget what. But
by
like,
the families, I guess.
There's a lot of stuff going on in his life where it makes good legal sense for him to present himself as being broke publicly.
Mm-hmm.
But he's probably not.
There is no feasible way that he is broke. This is like when I was going over the Boogie documentary and like looking at his finances, the way he laid them out, and then going like,
Wampa77 says social media influencers typically end up creating an OnlyFans page at some point in their career. I'm waiting, guys. So
Rhino mentioned it already.
Yeah, going back to what we said earlier in the stream about onlyfans.com/ViceRhino and Surus about I forget what it was. It was like you coming all over me or something. I don't know.
I said something about oh, you spilled your beer.
Oh yes, I was all
and
foamy
I said,
everywhere.
Don't worry, I'll never miss your mouth.
Yes, you'll never miss my mouth. onlyfans.com/ViceRhino and Surus.
So when I went over the Boogie documentary and he was doing his finances thing, like this is how much I get from YouTube and this is how much I survive off of, and I looked at his numbers, I compared them to my numbers, knowing what my RPM is like, looked through all of his stuff and went, there's no fucking way. There is no fucking way at this stage with these numbers that you have managed to dig yourself this hard in this situation. There are so many avenues you are literally not using.
And if you're in a hard situation, either go to onlyfans.com/ViceRhino or give to Project Share.
That's a situation that would get you hard, Rhino. That's different.
Yes, okay.
But it's the same thing with the Rittenhouse thing. There's no way he's drunk, because as somebody who, has a measure of notoriety on the internet, however small, I what to do at a certain level of notoriety. Yeah. Like, hey, a certain number of people know me. I can do this.
It'd be so fucking easy to make money with the name Kyle Rittenhouse. As long as you're willing to sell your soul to the right wing.
License it out to a porn company.
Well, he wrote a book.
Of course he did.
Yeah.
He should have done the OJ thing. Like, if I did
his avatar is the picture that's on the cover of the book, which, like, that's not a flattering picture. Like, you couldn't get a better picture of yourself, man.
It looks like an old-timey mugshot.
Yeah, well, let's see. Kyle Rittenhouse book. Images. Yeah, it's called Acquitted. That's a terrible picture.
Old Gus says, looks like time check in, his YouTube chat still working. So no, because we're on Rhino's channel. I don't want to layer the chats up on my end. It looks weird when you do that.
He looks like he had a stroke in this picture. Like the left half of his face, his left side of his face, right side when you're looking at it, looks
very
like
asymmetrical.
It's droopy. Like half of his face is drooping. Anyway,
we're running. Like he got hit by the entire legal system.
I think this is the last tweet. Charlie Martin says, "You people don't stand for your flag or country or pledge of allegiance, or you people who don't stand for your flag or country or pledge of allegiance are insufferable. Simply rootless urban parasites who refuse to honor and respect the people who fought for your freedom." Now, this was on Threads, and I saw it, and a bunch of veterans replied to this, being like, no, actually, we fought for the freedom to, like, not stand for the pledge if you don't want to, because that's what freedom actually means. Like,
you are free to be not free.
Yeah, like, freedom doesn't mean you have to conform to societal expectations. Freedom means you can not do that if you don't want to. And this person didn't understand that. He would argue with veterans, being like, no, that's not what you fought for.
And you're just like, bro, I'm the one that went out there.
Yeah.
And people have to be so right. They are just wrong all the time.
Yeah, but it's like, these people, they don't, the people that are most... The people whose dicks get the most hard when they hear the word freedom are the people who least understand what the word freedom even fucking means.
Because in their mind, freedom is always operating within the parameters of what they deem is okay. That's what freedom means. Well, I wouldn't do that, so surely nobody else would want to do that.
So Avalon of Babylon says, go to DDLG Playground and use coupon code Surus. He's literally their only partner anymore because his audience is such a degen that is like, yeah, no, the partner program doesn't work for us anymore, but this guy gets some sales.
It works for them. That was such a weird email to get. They were like, yeah, we grandfathered the program out. It didn't make a whole lot of money, but your code gets used actually, so you can keep it. What? Okay. Sure. Neat.
Right. So yeah, that was the last tweet. And so we're done with the tweets. Thank you so much for your donations to Project Share. I appreciate that. Hover does not appreciate that because share.viceround.com seems to not be working anymore, but the bots have been spamming it in the chat, so you should be able to find it.
It'll work one way or another.
I don't know what the fuck is wrong with that. If you want to send me news articles, send it to news@viceround.com, but that's, again, Hover hosting that, so maybe I'll get it, maybe I won't. Who fucking knows with how they work?
My brain is corrupted. I didn't hear if you want to send me news. I heard if you want to send me news.
I mean, if you want to send me news, you can send them there too, but I'm not going to show them on stream.
He'll just go with his partner and judge them in the back rooms.
Yeah, we'll have some fun with that. Yeah, no, actually, nope, it's lost. My thought is gone. Rosaline Keller sent 499 and says Kyle Rittenhouse looks like John from Jane and John from the Debunking Evolution Creationist series. I'm not oh yeah, those guys. John and Jane from Genesis Apologetics.
Memory holes. Ninja says, Surus, don't act like you didn't know we were a special level of degenerate. Oh, I knew. I knew. 100%.
No, don't do that. Okay, can we? Nope.
Trying to find the way to exit the stream.
No, I know how to exit the stream. I want to show a picture of John and Jane.
He said he's an official porn artist. Of course, his chat is degenerate. Look. You're only official because I've paid you for work that isn't porn. Then you can't unsee it, thanks. Well, now soon everybody won't be able to unsee it. Eventually, Rhino will get to the point where he can show it. There it is.
So the guy there.
Oh my John. God! He looks... he just looks like Rittenhouse.
Yep. Oop.
That's... Why is he... He looks so sad.
And also half of his face looks like it doesn't work. So that works.
Yeah. Is that what we're going to call that now? Getting Rittenhoused?
Having a stroke is getting Rittenhoused.
Yeah. That feels awful to think of, and now nobody can unsee it.
You know what? I have a wife who died of a stroke, so I'm allowed to make jokes about that.
You know, I can't stop you.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining me. Please give money to charity so that you can be less terrible people than I am. Because I'm apparently a terrible person, according to the stream so far.
According to all known laws of aviation.
Like, nobody's called me out for it, but like, I know I've been a terrible person on the stream, and I'm sorry. You guys need to donate to charity to make up for it.
Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah, so I meant to say this at the top of the stream, but yeah, so my stream with my partner, where we're reading through the Christian marriage book, that is moving to the Watering Hole channel, and it's going to be on Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern. And that's partly because of YouTube punishing channels for trying new things, and partly because of scheduling stuff with her kids. It just makes it easier. So yeah, there's that.
Makes sense.
So yeah, see you tomorrow then for that one. But as always, fuck off.